I'm Louie Maggiotto. I'm running for Residential District Seat 14, which is in Playa Vista, where I've lived for 9 years. But my time in Westchester goes back 11 years when we started sending our 3 kids to school there. I'm running because I have always valued giving back to my community. This will be the next in a long stream of volunteer efforts in my life. I love Playa Vista, living there, and I love the public school in Westchester, where our kids went to. And these days, I love Little League baseball, because Little League's mission statement is actually to use baseball to develop good citizens. So when I'm out there as a volunteer umpire and any kind of dispute comes up, I always seek to model to the kids, this is how people treat each other with respect, even in dispute. And I would continue to model that kind of behavior and citizenship working on the neighborhood council. You know, when neighborhood councils began in LA just 20 years ago, they tended to fill up with land developers or their wives or their husbands and a lot of other people with business interests. When one looks at our current neighborhood council, it still feels like that old school chamber of commerce. Some of those business interests are important to represent, but we deserve a council that more represents a community that votes overwhelmingly Democrat. These are the voters that understand that council transparency is necessary to engage a diverse community. And these are the voters that understand that our society has inadequate social services for those most at risk, which makes it no surprise that the biggest issue in front of us right now is the unhoused crisis. It is a daunting problem with decades of systemic causes made worse by this pandemic. Experts are telling us that folks are becoming homeless faster than we are currently housing them. We need candidates and a council that doesn't engage in unrealistic wishful thinking. Bonin's motion that my opponent and most of the neighborhood council voted to oppose, it's still going to pass in City Hall, along with a lot of other similar emergency motions, because every single city district desperately needs to get aggressive with this crisis. So we need a neighborhood council that understands this and works practically with city government, and not one whose only action to date was to pass a useless, symbolic motion of obstruction. Let's talk about Westchester Park. Here's my common sense take. For the past 10 years, I've enjoyed the park as a parent in the playground, as a tennis player, and as a baseball coach. For the past few months, I've also spent time there with those now living there, and I see the dire situation. Though I personally still feel comfortable bringing my kids there, and I have, I understand those who might not feel comfortable with that. I also see how things could get worse. So, as shelter beds and purchased hotel rooms become available, I would urge Mike Bonin to make the parks the first places we move people out of. But in the meantime, we gotta manage the situation and make what is going on there safer. There are legal restrictions on our options. There are practical restrictions on what is feasible, and there are moral imperatives. There are so few places available to us on the West Side. I believe Mike Bonin when he says his team has searched long and hard for these places, and he has found some. But we can't, as some have suggested, or silently hoped, just ship these people somewhere desolate like we might do our trash. These are human beings in crisis. Sharing the park with those in crisis was not the park's original purpose. So it's easy to assert this is just wrong. It's easy to assert that the city and county just needs to solve it. What's hard, but necessary, is to admit when it's too late for painless options. We all wish this wasn't something that we had to consider the feasibility of, even temporarily. But in a humanitarian crisis like this, good citizens find a way to face the tough choices, and they find ways to adapt our resources to the greatest need. Please cast your vote for me and the rest of the Westchester Playa Forward slate. These, I believe, are our most sensible candidates, and in so doing, you will give yourself a neighborhood council that represents better who we really are. Thanks for taking the time.